Hello and welcome to another episode of Breaking Mayberry, a show that's about teaching men to take accountability for yourself and making your relationships and marriages better.
Yeah. You know what? You know what your problem is? You're too docile. You're not aggressive enough. You need to be more aggressive.
No.
We're
going to aggressive is exactly the problem. You see, Dan, the aggression, the drive that you have put and that made you such a successful business person, that made you so successful in your business and career, that's the same thing that's putting strain on your marriage.
Okay.
And that's why you need to learn how to downshift and become a more emotionally supportive and emotionally intelligent partner. But right now, that drive that's in you, that's making your career so strong, that's hurting your relationship, it's time to stop pointing fingers at your wife and start taking accountability for yourself and as a man. This is all taken from a YouTube video.
What the fuck is happening?
A YouTube ad that I saw. This is all, I don't know what it was I clicked, my man, but I clicked on a YouTube ad, or I watched a video. And a YouTube ad played before where a man with multiple neck tattoos yelled at me about why my marriage was a failure. And it was because of all of the things that made my business and my career so successful. And I sat there staring at the man with the neck tattoo thinking, no, if anything, it's exactly the opposite. But
do you ever get,
this was like a 3-minute ad. I don't even remember what I was going to watch. It's just this man just comes out and yells at me for having for all of the failures of my marriage. And I was like, I guess I got to listen to what this guy is doing. And here's the thing, like, I'm not even angry about it. It was just so aggro. You know those low T, that you've got low T and it's time to fix your love life. It was like that, but it was just for like being nice to your wife.
Well, that's the only way you can like sell things on the internet now is like, hey bitch, you're not drinking enough water. You gotta up your water intake significantly. You coward. This is why you're weak. Like, it's like the only way you can convince people to do things now is be like, your ancestors wanted you to refinance your mortgage. Cavemen wanted you to do that. Your ancestors are screaming right now. Refinance. Like, it's the only thing that works.
I mean, it really is that stuff, right? That caveman, that primal mentality that just scream at us. We're actually constantly getting emails that I am constantly ignoring, asking us to be sponsored by like Mind Master, like Zootropics. We get emails from a Mind Master, like a Zootropics company, saying they want to sponsor our podcast. And Jesus Christ, if they ever listen to us once, like, you know that we are not the people to talk about that. But it's the same idea.
They want one thing you and I are, it's masters of our minds. Just ironclad control over the chemicals running through our brains.
These two guys right here clearly have executive function.
Yes.
Like,
yeah. Just complete awareness honestly, of everything happening around us at all times.
You would have a better time if you just asked me to say that Breaking Mayberry was sponsored by drugs.
Yeah.
Breaking Mayberry, sponsored by drugs.
Sponsored by...
Some of them are really good.
Smoked too much weed freshman year, did some stuff to your chemistry, never totally recovered. Brought to you by Breaking Mayberry.
But man, I couldn't get over. I don't even remember what video I wanted to watch in the first place. I think I wanted to watch an interview with Gardner Minshew, and it just popped out. And I guess I'm on board with this. I guess I'm on board with like a guy who is just yelling at you to be nicer to your wife and to be chill. But it was
Gardner Minshew is
so aggro.
Gardner Minshew is the patron saint of aggro wife guys. Like, that is kind of his deal. I don't know if he's even fucking married, but one day he will be, and he's going to get an altercation in a Trader Joe's parking lot over how much he loves his wife.
I think I would prefer it if the ad was just 13 minutes of Gardner Minshew, mustache and all, just saying, "Hey, my wife rules."
Yeah.
Just like preparing a slideshow of Mrs. Minshew. Just
Gardner Minshew hosting a podcast called Wife Chat, where just him and a guest sit down and talk about how rad their wives are. Not even about how much they love them, but just be like, so what makes your wife cool? And it's like, oh man, she does homemade pottery. That's sick as hell, bro. That's sick as hell.
All right, my man. You know what I'm about to do to you right now? It's now Wife Chat. Breaking Mayberry is Wife Chat, because this motherfucker's wifed up.
Yeah, I am. Wife City.
That's right, man. And you know what? Let's give you a moment. Hey, Dan, what makes your wife cool?
She would fight a person to the death for me if necessary. And not even if necessary. If somebody was just, like, mean to me in, for example, a Trader Joe's parking lot, she'd curb stomp them. I now have somebody that will literally fight and die on my behalf, which is great because I would not do either of those things.
Yeah. I mean, die. You would die.
I would die.
You would die on your own behalf.
Yeah.
And you are going to eventually, as we all are.
Yes.
Everyone dies on their own behalf.
Yes, absolutely. That's the only way to really do it.
Everybody dies frustrated and sad, and that is beautiful. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Marty Schneider.
She's gonna listen to this and be like, "You won't want to talk about any of my hobbies. You want to talk. You don't want to talk about that I'm a really good artist. You want to talk about how I'm a Viking warrior."
And she'll be like, "Thank you.
Yeah,
that's great." Like, she'll be super into that. I'm one of your hosts. I'm Marty Schneider.
I'm the other host. I'm Dan Ludwig.
And I mentioned that and made fun of you in my best man speech.
You did. What a simpering coward I am.
It was great. It was awesome. We are not a show about wife stuff, although we could be. We're two wife guys at this point. We are a show about the Andy Griffith Show. A man who never married. Well, Andy Griffith himself married 3 times, including one time a woman who was like half his age.
Of course they did. Like, this is why you never look at Wikipedia pages.
But this is a show about baby boomer television, specifically the Andy Griffith Show, and we have 2 episodes of the Andy Griffith Show for you today, and they are both duds.
Yeah, just
holy crap.
Boring as hell. One cool thing that I learned from one of them, and the other one, boring as shit.
Yeah, let's start with Season 5, Episode 19, airs January 25th, 1965, The Lucky Letter.
Mm-hmm.
Written by Richard M. Powell, Dick Powell. And then directed by Theodore J. Flicker. No, that's not
that
a
is
name.
An NFL player ass
not a
name.
Man's name.
That is the name of a running back who will last 2 seasons.
No, that's a Wes Anderson ass name. Theodore J. Flicker is like a minor character in a Wes Anderson movie played by like Jeffrey Wright.
Yeah.
He's like a potter.
Mm-hmm. Theodore Flicker was a solitary man, comforted only by his ceramics. And then it's just him holding up I made this duck.
Yeah, exactly. No, I take that back. I made this duck. His name is Theodore J. Flicker, so it would be like, it would be about like a sad bird watcher or some shit. Like Theodore J. Flicker always found himself more at home amongst the aviary species than he did among humans. And then he would just point up, it's a blue-billed grosbeak.
Just pops up out of some grass wearing like a birdwatcher outfit, points directly into the sky, and just goes, Blue Jay.
While whimsical music plays in the background. Theodore J. Flicker. Fuck you.
Yeah, no.
All right, Theodore J. Flicker. Half the jokes on our show are just making fun of people's names. Here's your 1-sentence summary from Wikipedia. Barney thinks he's received bad luck after tearing up a chain letter.
Yep.
Okay, so the episode starts off.
I mean, I'm gonna bring up just off the bat the most interesting thing about this episode, which is I didn't think chain letters dated back this far, right? Like, I thought chain letters were an invention of like the 80s at the earliest.
Oh, no, I knew that chain letters were this old simply because I had seen them referenced in, like, old Archie comics.
Okay.
But that was my only frame of reference.
it's just weird that we've been doing something that dumb for that long. I just assumed that it was the result of like either 80s cocaine use or 90s boredom. That
Yeah,
just
I mean, it feels like it should have been born when email was born, but no, we've been doing this forever.
Yeah. Well, the ones that I always like, were chain letters around when you were a kid? I think they've effectively died off, but did you ever like get any as a kid?
I mean, I got emails.
Yeah. But
right, you definitely got chain emails. And to this day, I do think that the chain letter idea exists, but it's not asking you to forward anything on. It's asking you to like repost this to your followers and see who loves you or whatever like that.
You know the ones that I encountered the most? Do you remember chain YouTube comments?
Oh yeah.
Those were a thing, which it was like, comment this on 4 other YouTube videos. But they were always like, I am a Nigerian shaman who has posted this here for good luck. Like, it was all, they like always had like a weird like mysticism element to it. It wasn't just like this where it's just like, hey, this is good luck. Post it, send it to somebody.
Yeah, I mean, it's been like that forever. And yeah, I think now the idea is just like the things that you share or on your Facebook wall. If we were a good podcast, we would have Googled history of chain letters before we actually got on here. Slate magazine says that actually the earliest known chain letters date back to 1888 from a Methodist Academy for Women Missionaries. Basically used it as a Ponzi scheme. Like they were trying to have everyone receiving the letter send them a dime and then send 3 copies of the letter asking 3 friends to see the same thing.
See, that makes
sense.
So
that was the history of it. Right. Like, give me money is at least a point.
It's one of the dumber things that humanity has done, just because it is so without any sort of benefit for anybody. It accomplishes nothing.
Yeah, everything else turns out, I think that's it's got to be an urban legend that just appeared in this. So anyway, chain letter happens. But before the chain letter, we get one of what the Andy Griffith show thinks is one of the funniest things in the world. A man wearing a slightly too large hat.
It is the lamest prank I have ever seen. It is. So it's the typical refrain where Andy walks in, Barney is slacking off and sleeping. Andy, while he goes in to fuck with him, and he's done stuff before where he's like short-sheeted him, which is it's some fun. This time he takes his hat and then gets another nearby hat, and then he gives him that hat, and then when Barney wakes up, he puts on the hat, and I was expecting it to be a much too big hat, like all the way over his nose.
No,
barely
it's just
too
a
big.
Slightly too big hat.
You would not even notice if you saw a guy wearing this hat. You would not stop and be like, that hat's too big for that guy. You would not even flag it.
It's so dumb. And like, the Andy Griffith Show loves this. There's nothing funnier to that writer's room than a man wearing a hat that is slightly too large.
Give him a sombrero. What are we doing here? Just put a giant novelty hat on him.
Put him in a big old Pharrell hat.
Make it at least like the wrong kind of hat. He has a baseball cap on. He's confused about it.
Barney Fife here for Arby's. We have the meats.
Also, I thought they were going to carry the joke way longer.
No, they bail on this joke in about 10 seconds.
They could have made...
I have no idea why it's there. I have no idea why it's in the episode. They bail on it like immediately. Don Knotts walks out and he's like trying to rub his hat and trying to like pick it up, and then he goes, ha ha, very funny, and then he goes gets another hat, and that is the first 90 seconds of air. We had all the time in the world. If
I'm given 2 potential notes on how to fix the joke, I'm saying either 1, bigger hat, which is the note I have on most jokes,
every joke should be delivered with a man wearing a bigger hat.
Yeah, like
right? The bigger the hat. Right.
Yeah, like it just...
The bigger the hat, the funnier the joke.
That joke on your stand-up special didn't really land. Have you thought about putting on a bigger hat while you do it?
The Aristocrats, but he's wearing a really big hat.
Boom! Perfect! The other option is, he has the big hat on for too long, and you do that for the whole episode. Just the whole episode, he's slightly bothered by having a hat on that's not quite the right size, and he is always, like, fucking with it a little bit. And then at the very end, he goes, ha ha, very funny. But you gotta either do it bigger or longer.
That's what she said?
Yeah, I give you a layup like that. Come on. Like... So shitty joke that frustrated me.
And then they just bail on it. We've spent way more time talking about the joke than the joke actually exists.
Yeah.
Andy and Barney go through the mail. Is there anything else interesting in the mail scene?
Nah. Just the mail is how they come up with... There's a joke so lame I'm not even going to mention it. That's how Barney comes upon the chain letter that he is sitting on. And... reads it out.
A chain letter, if you haven't figured it out by now, is a letter that asks you to forward the same letter on to other people.
Oh my god, we potentially have listeners who are too young to know what a chain letter is.
Yeah, or not all of our listeners are US based. If you're not in the US and you're listening to this show, I don't get it, but all right. So a chain letter is a letter or an email that says you have to forward it on to other people in order to get good luck, and bad luck will happen if you do not forward it on. Now, I keep saying forward because that's how emails work, and I just have to click a button. But what Barney would have to do is grab 2 pieces of paper, write out the exact same letter twice, word for word, and then mail it to other people. Apparently anonymously, because he doesn't have a return to sender.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a return address.
Which makes it so much dumber. Like, at least we just had the forward or photocopy option when you go back. But yeah, you had to, like, actually manually do it. So, yeah, it's really dumb. It's a really dumb thing that people used to do for no reason. Like, not to come down real hard on chain letters. I know I'm not, like, blazing new ground by pointing out that they're fucking stupid.
I'm not entirely convinced that they actually did do that. Maybe, and that this wasn't just a gag that was made up for Archie Comics. And I haven't read the rest of this Slate article that we only barely researched. Barney begins to start typing out copies of the letter, and Andy makes fun of him for being superstitious. And of course, Barney takes offense to this and says, "I'm not superstitious. I'm just, being very cautious. I'm erring on the side of caution." And Andy, proving once again that there is continuity in this show, says, "Okay, but a couple of weeks ago, you had like a fortune teller cards and you had my son making wishes." And Barney points out those wishes came true. So they acknowledge once again that we have proven unequivocally
magic is real in the...
Magic is real in the Andy Griffith universe.
John Constantine is somewhere in the Andy Griffith universe hunting demons.
Magic is real. I would also send that chain letter along, right? Like,
Barney has ample evidence. Do you remember that guy season 1 that was an actual jinx and actually, like, had the ire of God and bad stuff kept happening to him all the time, and Barney was 100% vindicated?
Yeah. No, like... He 100% should be doing this, all right? The weird mountain folk who hang out with witches, like they're right about everything regarding magic and magic only.
Yes, absolutely. Breaking Mayberry does not endorse the views of crazed mountain people.
So Barney begins to type it out. Andy makes fun of him, and then Barney gets upset and he throws the letter away. Later on the same day, he's walking down the street and Floyd pulls him over to a bench and says, "Hey man, hey, did you mail those letters? Did you send that chain letter on?" I don't know why that's my Floyd voice. And
it's gotten away from you.
Yeah, he becomes Paul Lynde at some point. And Barney figures out, okay, yeah, of course it was you. Of course it was you that mailed it to me. "No, I didn't send that on." And Floyd says, "Really? Because I've had nothing but good luck this whole time. A man came in and gave me a whole $1. Ooh, $1 tip."
I don't know if you've ever seen The Marvelous Misadventures of Flapjack, but you're doing Dr. Barber. Like, that is what you backed into.
I guess so, yeah. Barney walks away. He's frustrated by this. Oh, there is one other plot point we mentioned. In the mail, they got a summons, basically, that Barney has to go and recertify his shooting certificate, his gun license, or else, like, whatever system governs the police force needs to have Barney come in and just kind of recertify, thus proving that apparently he has taken some sort of gun safety class or something. Like, there's apparently some kind of higher power that is authorizing him to use his firearm, and they are wildly inept. So that's the big kickoff. Now Barney's worried about his bad luck. A number of things happen to Barney. When he's talking to Opie, and Opie's asking him about chain letter, he stops out, and then a man drives a truck over his foot.
Yeah.
Which I would say is slightly more than bad luck. It's very strange that he just kind of responds, this truck is on my foot. Oh no.
Which, I mean, this was back in the 60s when, according to all evidence, a truck weighed about 100 pounds, maybe? Like,
cars were made out of Nerf.
Yeah, you could throw a car. Like, you could just, like, chuck a Volkswagen over a hill like the Incredible Hulk. They were all made out of tinfoil.
A couple of things happen. He has a big fight with Thelma Lou. The Thelma Lou fight scene is amazing and frustrating.
It's incredible.
Andy basically says, hey man, why don't you go and have sex with your girlfriend and you won't be so mad? He says, why don't you go to Thelma Lou's, have a nice night, you won't be so nervous, you won't be so worried about your bad luck. Just go over, call Thelma Lou, call her up, and
just go get your dick wet, bud. You just gotta
go get your dick wet.
Just go get some fucking in.
So he calls Thelma Lou, and he says, and he asks Thelma Lou, hey, I got a surprise for you. I want to come over tonight. And Thelma Lou says, it's not your normal date night. No, I know it's not our normal date night. That's why this is a surprise. What do you mean you already still have plans to go glue? He says that she's going to the church to glue the covers onto hymnal books with Edgar Mason or something. Some other guy's name. Just another guy. I'm going to say it's Edgar Mason. It definitely starts with an E.
Yeah.
So she's gluing covers onto hymnals with Edgar Mason, which sounds like a euphemism, right? So she's going to the church.
Glue
Barney
his
says
hymnal all night long.
Yeah, somebody's hymnal's getting glued. And Barney, of course, gets mad and says, what's it going to be? Me or Edgar Mason? And by the way, what's up with you and Edgar Mason anyway? What's happening? And by the way, all this, we don't hear Thelma Lou's side of this. You only see Barney's side. He finally yells, what do you mean I can't talk to you that way? I just did talk to you that way. Barney Fife could stand to learn a few lessons from the neck tattoo guy.
Yeah.
About why his determination and drive in his career are really holding him back in his relationship. Neck tattoo guy needs to get in on this. In fact, a lot of people need to get on this because after Thelma Lou hangs up, Andy says, you need to call her back and apologize. And instead, Barney picks up the phone and says, Sarah, get me Juanita Beasley. He says it like through gritted teeth. And then there's a pause, and he says, I don't care if you don't think I should call Juanita Beasley. So everyone's in on it, right? Like Sarah, the switchboard operator, is just like, Barney, I don't think that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Sarah, the switchboard operator, is my favorite character. She has no line. She doesn't really exist, but I love her.
Is everybody in this town aware that Barney is fucking Juanita Beasley except Thelma Lou? Is she like in a horrible like Stepford Wives situation where she's like the only person that doesn't know that this is happening?
It is. I know we make King of the Hill references all the time, but it is very much the John Redcorn, Dale Gribble. What is Dale's wife's name? Nancy Hicks Gribble.
Yes.
How did I forget that? It's very much the John Redcorn, Nancy Hicks Gribble, Dale Gribble situation. In fact, it's kind of like that one episode where Peggy Hill is the last person to figure it out.
Which I don't know if the show is in on this joke of the hypocrisy of going like, hey, I'm suspicious that you're fucking this guy, that he's getting his glue all over your hymnals. and then immediately going like, Sarah, get me my side piece. Like, I cannot tell if they are in on that joke of it being hypocritical.
I think they are. I'm going to give them a little bit of credit on this one. I think they're in on the joke. But still, the joke is definitely like, it's okay for a man.
Yeah.
Like,
and then he calls and he is answered by Frank, who I'm assuming is the guy who works at the diner, like her boss at the diner.
Yeah. It's got to be like Frank's Diner or whatever.
Yeah, and it's not like he got her husband, right?
I assume. Yeah, I think that's it too, because he asks if Barney wants to leave a message.
Yeah.
Right? If it was her husband, he would not ask that.
Yeah. So yeah, she just didn't pick up. So
yeah, because she doesn't live at the diner.
I don't think he knows that. I don't think he is aware of where she actually lives. I don't think he knows anything about her as a person. It is so you delivered all the events, but you kind of delivered it calmly and sort of beat by beat. And the good thing about it's the best part of the episode. It's really the only good part about the episode is that this all happens in like 5 seconds. It's just he picks up.
This goes very rapid fire.
Yeah. What are you doing tonight? Huh? You're hanging out with that guy? What's going on with you two? All right, fine. Fuck you. And hang up. Get me 1 Ada Beasley. Oh, hi, Frank. No, I don't want to leave a message. Bam. And then just Andy is just kind of sitting there in like the wreckage of it, just going like, well, that could have gone better.
It's like the first time when Andy's like, you brought this on yourself.
Yeah.
Right? And Barney, of course, doesn't believe it. And he says, I am going to be thrown away by the ash heap of history. Here I go. I've ruined my job and my relationship. A man with a neck tattoo cannot help me now.
No.
And he just goes off, presumably to kill himself. And then the next scene is Opie and Andy just kind of hanging out on their porch. And Andy just nonchalantly goes, boy, I wonder where my incredibly depressed friend is.
Yeah, my incredibly depressed armed friend.
Yeah, my incredibly depressed friend who always has a gun with exactly 1 bullet in it. I wonder where he's gone. Last I saw, I heard that he was saying that there was no point to him being around. I don't think I'm going to worry too much. And Opie's like, I think you should worry a little bit. Andy tells Opie that he can't figure out where Barney is, because when you're looking for someone, you should think about their position and try to think like them. But I can't think like Barney. I'm such a good cop.
Yeah.
I'm the best cop in the world. Like all cops, I lack the ability to put myself in anyone else's shoes. I lack basic human empathy. I'm the best cop.
Well, I can't really get into this person's head where they might be, and I only have 10 years of intimate life experience to go off of. Thank God a serial killer never rolls into this town.
More than 10. They've been friends since childhood.
Yes, he should know. Like he should know. Like be able to predict his location at the drop of a hat.
Dan, if you disappeared for a day or two, if I noticed,
yeah.
But I think I'd be able to come up with a few guesses as to where you would be.
If you went missing, I would just immediately look up bird migration patterns. And
for sure,
and just cross-reference that with like, I'd say like 10 miles of your house, and just kind of go off of that, and then I just find you like standing in a field.
Yeah, that's exactly what would happen. I would probably, I don't know, call your mom.
Yeah, probably.
Which is the thing Barney or Andy doesn't do. Anyway, he has this. It's all leading for a joke because I can't think like Barney thinks. Then he realizes, hey, Opie, what would you do if you were Barney? Because Barney has the mind of a child. Opie says, I think I would probably go to the dump and I would look for that letter. Which
Andy should probably be like, all right, I'm going to go deal with that, but just real quick, we should follow up on your instincts, child. Like, I probably should just make sure, like, hey, no matter how things are going, don't ever go dig around in the trash to solve your problems. Like,
okay, so I want to talk about the trash scene. I want to talk about the trash scene. Because the trash scene, he goes to the dump and Barney's kicking stuff around there. And Andy shows up in his, like, nice sweater vest. Man, you know you're about to go dig in the dump. Now is the time to wear your fucking police uniform coveralls.
The only time he wears his personal clothes.
Yeah, he's wearing his Sunday best to go help his friend dig around in the dump. And also, I realized something. I was like, is all this garbage just loose out there? And instead of looking up history of chain letters, I looked up when were trash bags invented.
So fucking stupid.
Because it suddenly occurred to me, I was like, oh yeah, I guess there was a time when you didn't have plastic trash bags.
Because you just dumped your loose trash.
You just have loose trash somewhere, right?
Yeah. Disgusting. Such a disgusting time. Everything smelled like cigarettes and trash.
It's just super gross, right? But yeah, we didn't have trash bags for a while, but we did, like, they were invented in the 1940s. But in rural areas, yeah, it was pretty much common for, like, everyone to put stuff in a giant pile just loose, and then eventually the city or whatever would just burn it, like, when it got too bad. So
Makes
yeah,
it
and
sound
you
like somebody
just
shows up with a flamethrower.
you just had to, like, disinfect your trash bags all the time. Like, your metal cans would just be absolutely disgusting. You know, in you know, city areas, it became really common real fast to use plastic bags. In rural places, yeah, I guess you would just have loose garbage around this, including all of your mail with your name and address on it, which is what happens here. They just start going through people's letters. They find a nudie mag that belongs to Barney, and then they talk about that nudie mag for so long.
Beat by beat, because this is probably the best part of the episode, is they're digging around in the trash. Andy finds a nudie mag, goes, oh man, that girl should be ashamed of herself. What would her parents think? What kind of person would read these things? And then looks on the, I guess, return address on the nudie mag and goes,
it's a subscription.
Yeah.
It's
basically, it's a Playboy. They kind of strongly imply it's a Playboy. Because Andy immediately goes like, oh my god, Barney! And Barney goes, I read it for the articles.
Right.
Which I think was kind of the selling point of Playboy, which is like, you have plausible deniability. Playboy, we're gonna put some short stories in there so you can say you read them.
Right. And Playboy did it. Like, Playboy got, like, Neil Simon to do stuff. Playboy had, like, Jack Kerouac writing things.
Kurt
just to give
Vonnegut
them, like...
rolled in and just kind of rambled incoherently for 4 pages. And then it was like, alright, but now that we got that done, you want to see some titties? Get out of here, Vonnegut!
Yeah, Hef was like, great job giving us some credibility. Now get the fuck out of my mansion.
Get out of here, Vonnegut, you piece of shit!
And Vonnegut just yelled, toodaloo, and then rode away on, like, a giant bicycle, one of those ones with a big old front wheel. Like,
he drew a bunch of buttholes on his way out. Just scribble, like, just a drawing, like, this is a drawing of a bird! And then he was like, never again. He's never coming back to the grotto. He's never allowed in again.
Which is why he went on a bird-watching expedition with his dear friend Theodore J. Flicker. In this movie, the role of Kurt Vonnegut is played by Owen Wilson.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, everything was beautiful. Nothing hurt.
Oh.
Nothing hurt. Wow.
What if all the ladies in this nudie mag were robots? What if everybody you've ever met has been a robot? Honestly, if I was gonna have a disassociative episode, I feel like it would be pretty chill to have Owen Wilson there.
Owen Wilson is hanging out with me.
Yeah.
Hey, man, you're slipping through time. You've realized that time is an illusion, and you're partly here, but you're also partly on an alien plane. It's okay. Just relax. Watch Loki season 2 on Disney Plus, starring me.
Use the coupon code BreakMayberry for your Disney Plus subscription and get actually 15% added. We really botched that deal.
So they go through it. They do not find the letter. Andy has a brilliant idea, though. The next day, he brings in Goober. Goober is there, and he's there. Goober is there. In fact,
Goober appears.
the theme for the next 2 episodes is Goober is here.
And now Goober.
Goober doesn't do anything except Andy says, "Hey, so I realized that if Floyd sent you a letter, he had to send another letter because you were supposed to send 2. So I went and got Goober because that's the only other person that Floyd knows." And then Goober gives him the letter, and Barney says thank you. And then Andy goes, "Well, be seeing you, Goober." And then Goober leaves.
And Goober says some jokes, and I literally cannot for the life of me remember what they are. It's like every time he opens his mouth, it's just like white noise. It's just like, well, Andy, just ocean sounds.
And then he's gone, and you don't even realize he was there. And Andy says, as Barney starts writing out the letter with Goober's copy, he says, "Boy, it sure was nice of Goober to come by all this way and give you that letter." And Barney says, and then Barney says, "What do you mean by that?" And then I said, "Yeah, what the hell does he mean by that?" "I'm just saying it's a nice thing for Goober to come all this way, just give you that letter." And Barney comes to the conclusion, "You could have brought the letter yourself. You brought Goober on purpose." And then I said to the TV, "Goober just does this stuff."
Yeah.
Like, what point are you trying to make? This doesn't work for you to make a point when you're just talking about the guy who just wanders in any direction you point him.
Which,
like, it's not special that Goober came to hang out with Andy, because he just does that.
Yeah, like, if Andy had gone like, "Hey, Goober, can you give me the letter and then I'll give it to Barney?" Goober would be like, "I've already moved into your house. Like, right. I live with you now. You're my dad. Like, this is forever." Like, Goober doesn't not go places. They've kind of made that his definitive trait, is if you tell him to not go somewhere, he goes there and then does not leave.
Again, and this is going to come up in the next episode, Goober's only character trait is that he exists in the space around you.
Yes. He is breathing your air.
He's basically a sentient plant.
Yes.
Like, that is his only trait. However, Barney realizes that, wait a minute, you brought Goober here on purpose, because you wanted to show me that only people like Goober and Floyd believe in chain letters. Only those non-intellectual types like Goober and Floyd. And I'm just sitting there going, I was thinking, just say the R word, man.
Yeah.
Just call Goober the R word. You clearly want, I don't want you to, but you clearly want to just do it, TV show. It's 1965.
Clearly,
who's going to stop you?
They clearly wrote that down and then scribbled it out and wrote non-intellectual types. We'll come up with a synonym later.
Non-intellectual types, which, by the way, what the fuck, Andy? I just brought you this man-child idiot to show you what a man-child idiot you'll look like if you do the same thing as him. What the fuck, man?
Yeah.
This guy's supposedly your friend.
Which, yeah, it's just him basically going like, "This is you. This is what you look like right now." Which, in any circumstance, if Barney
I'm surprised he waited till Goober was out of the room.
Yeah, to be like, "Here's your peer, Barney, this dipshit." And then Goober would be like, "Hi. You're similar to the worst person we know." So they have that incredibly insulting interaction. Does Barney storm off after that? It's a little blurry up until the finale.
What happens at this point is that Barney gets mad at Andy and says, "You know what? You were the one who told me to throw this thing away in the first place. Now you brought it back, but you made it all weird. You decide, Andy. You figure this out. You tell me what's going to happen. I'm leaving. You take this letter, mail it or don't. I don't care. I don't want to know." He storms out, and then he sticks his head back in. "You going to mail those letters? I don't want to know." And then he leaves again. So next day is the shooting trials. And Barney is shaking, he's nervous, he's really upset. he does the thing. He shoots the gun in his holster right in front of Andy, grazes Andy's leg.
Yeah. Andy checks to make sure he has all of his toes.
At which point, the certification board should have been like, denied.
Yeah, but like, should have just like descended upon him like velociraptors and just been like, no longer a cop.
They're all there. I want you to understand, the board that is supposed to be certifying him to carry a firearm is right there. They are all 20 feet away. He nearly shot one of them, and they all just go about their business.
They're just basically like, he's not at the firing line. I don't have any jurisdiction. Oh, if he had done that when he was standing in the shooting place, then, ooh, I'd have got him. But, it's like international waters over there. I do not have jurisdiction.
Our authority ends over there.
Really?
On that side of the field.
My authority is over here on the shooting range, and the person who has authority over his gun handling over there is talking to him right now. Maybe he'll reprimand him in some way? Nope, he's coming over.
Andy calls Thelma Lou to come and like cheer Barney up and cheer him on. Thelma Lou runs over and says, Barney, I've never actually seen you shoot. It's so masculine. It's such a masculine thing to do, which is weird. But she butters his ego up and fluffs his confidence a little bit.
She's in a good mood because she fucked that guy's brains out.
Oh, 100%, right? Like,
yeah.
Like those hymnal plays, she was screaming hallelujah, right? Like, so now she's happy.
Church
right?
is not the only thing consecrated. I don't know what that meant, but it sounded right.
Close enough, yeah.
Yeah.
And Barney does his weird, like, one-eyed, shaky pistol stance. It takes him forever. But he does shoot, like, 4 bullseyes. He hits the targets 3 times. And I was ready to learn that Andy had, like, loaded the target with squibs or something. That he had like cherry bombs placed in the target haystacks.
I thought there was gonna be a Man Who Shot Liberty Valance thing where Andy was gonna be beat like way off in the distance with a repeater rifle.
A sniper rifle, yeah.
Yeah. He just had a former Marine just like out in a grassy knoll.
It's Gomer. He just brought Gomer back on leave for a few days.
Yeah. Oh, that would have been so sick.
It would have been so dope. All right, Gomer. When I shine with my pocket watch like this and make that light, you hit that target. Well, Shazam, Andy, I sure can do that.
When I close my eyes, all I see is the screams of the lives I've taken. I'm drenched in blood, Andy. I'm drenched in blood. It's good to see you, though.
That idea of Gomer Pyle coming home and it's just like a Barry situation, like all he knows how to do is kill.
Gomer Pyle, PTSD.
But yeah, no, it's not that. Barney apparently hits those targets of his own accord. Except when he takes his handkerchief out to wipe some of the sweat off, he drops his lucky rabbit's foot, he drops his 4-leaf clover, thus proving that he is in fact still very superstitious, even if the letter didn't do anything. The final scene in The Stinger is Barney getting his foot run over a second time. And Andy just looks out and goes, well, that sucks.
Yeah.
Not going to get any medical help for my friend.
Which, okay, I do want to just say, up top, Barney's reason for wanting to do the chain letter is, I don't believe in it, but I don't want to fuck with it. Which, I'm gonna be honest, is my, like, stance on most, like, superstitious stuff of just, like,
yes.
Yeah, like,
yes.
I don't believe in knock on wood. I'm gonna knock on wood. I'm not gonna fuck with it. Like, honestly, I probably would have sent the chain letter on the same logic of, like, no, I think this is stupid, but I'm not gonna, like...
100%. Look, listen, I don't believe that Ouija boards will, could put me in contact with the spirit world, but just in case, I'm not touching the fucking board.
Yeah, no, not fucking with it. I'm not gonna be, like... the husband in a horror movie that's like, this is all just dumb superstition. Demons eating my face! Like,
yeah.
I'm not gonna do that.
here's the thing that I know about myself, which is that I'm wrong a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of things that I am very, very sure about are turn out to be wrong, right?
Yeah. I've seen so many movies where the guy who is very confident about superstition dies horribly. So, just on the off chance, I don't want to be that guy. I guess what I just decided is I'm Team Barney in all of this. He was right. Let's do some fucking ratings. So,
Rating
Andy
for this
meter.
episode, Andy meter. It's not very funny.
There are
It's not
two
good.
scenes. There's the Barney yelling scene and the porno scene. And
Yeah.
that is altogether, I would say, 3 minutes of this 22-minute episode of television that is remotely funny. And two. It's a 2. It's not dog shit, but it's boring as hell.
Yeah, I 3. I'll give it a 3.
And Barney meter 0. It's fine. It's fine. Unless you have strong feelings about ghosts one way or another, then I guess you might be offended by this in some way.
I mean, it's such a cookie cutter plot, right? Like it's such a simple thing that I've seen probably a million times before. It's fine. It is straight out of an Archie comic. Jughead could have done it better.
Goober meter.
And I don't think Andy's really sick. He's really like. I don't think. So the Goober meter is us ranking how done with this Andy is.
How close to snapping Andy is.
Andy does finally tell Barney, like, this is your own fault. But he's not, like, throwing a fit about it. Like, I'm going to put this a pretty low Goober meter. I think it's like a 4 on the Goober meter as well.
I'd say it's like a 2. Like, it seems like he's kind of, like, snapping, but also he seems like he's kind of having fun. Like, he is enjoying Barney's suffering.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that one, and let's do the much worse one. The one that is
okay.
nightmarish.
Okay, so here is... Oh, my God. Here is Season 5, Episode 20, Goober and the Art of Love. Airs February 1st, 1965, just in time for Valentine's Day. Written by Fred Freeman and Lawrence J. Cohen. I don't know if we've seen them before. We saw them for Goodbye Sheriff Taylor. Directed by Alan Rafkin. Here's your one-sentence summary from Wikipedia. Andy and Barney get Goober to ask out wallflower Lydia Crosswaith so he doesn't have to tag along on their dates.
So
okay,
this is basically a leftover dinner version of a Goober of a Gomer episode. It is like it's like basically they were like, "Hey, do you want to watch a Gomer Pyle episode of the Andy Griffith Show?" And I was like, "I mean, not really." And they're like, "Cool, I'll grab it for you." And then they took an old one and heated it up in the microwave. And we're like, "Here, it's this is good. This is good for you." And I'm like,
"This is good.
Guess I'll eat this. It's all mushy and the microwave kind of ruined everything, but fine."
Remember about half an hour ago, I said that there's nothing funnier to the Andy Griffith writing room than a guy wearing a slightly too large hat?
Yeah.
I lied. There is one thing that is slightly funnier to the Andy Griffith Show writing room, and that is, what if there was a guy who sucked?
What if there was a guy who was unpleasant to be around, and everybody had to be around him?
I think I can sum up this. I can do this episode in record time. Okay, all right. Goober shows up as Andy and Barney and Thelma Lou and Helen are about to go on a date, and he tags along on their date, and he's annoying. Then he starts dating Lydia Crosswaith, and he's annoying, and she's frustrating, and they annoy them together. And then they keep annoying them. And then Barney shows up later, and he annoys Andy and Helen. That is it. Nothing happens in this episode. This entire episode is sometimes your friend who sucks starts dating someone who also sucks. And there's no scheme. There's no plan to break them up. There's no way to ditch them. It's just 4 people being wildly uncomfortable, but too polite to kick out the other 2. That is it. It is so frustrating.
We're not going to go scene by scene, but I want to break this episode up into, like, quadrants. Because first quadrant is Andy and Crump and Barney and Thelma Lou are trying to date and double date and shit. They're trying to go to movies.
I do like that they're all dressed up in suits and dresses to go to the movies. I thought that was cool. I think we should bring that back.
That would be cool. Well, they did that for Minions. Do you remember when all those kids started
wearing
suits
all those bros were wearing suits for Minions? I guess. All right. Yeah. I'm fine with that. That's wholesome.
Yeah. So they are doing that, and Goober keeps showing up and guilting the women into letting him tag along to their dates. And then, according to, like, their recap after, Andy and Cal and Crump went in a canoe later, and Gomer, like, jumped in their canoe, too, and Barney, like, tried to take Thelma Lou home to fuck, and because Goober tagged along, he had to shake her hand at the door. So, one, I don't know how Goober is this omnipresent that he can simultaneously ruin 2 dates in very different locations, but it sounds like they went to the movies and then Andy went on a night canoe. But the thing I want to talk about is Goober has transcended into basically this show's version of a supervillain. Like, there have been, like, criminals and bad people on this show before, and they have always been, at most, minor inconveniences. And Goober is this show's Moriarty, just on the basis of he is an annoying guy that will not take polite social cues. And is not Gomer Pyle annoying, where it's like, he's a sweet kid, he's just dumb. And it's just like, it's a guy that just fucking sucks.
There's a guy that sucks.
It's just sucks shit, really unpleasant to be around.
The pitch meeting for Goober Pyle was like, so the pitch meeting was Fritzl and Greenbaum sitting around together, and Fritzl turns to Greenbaum and says, "Hey, Greenbaum, what if there was a guy who wasn't funny?"
Yeah.
And Greenbaum says, I don't get it. Okay, but listen, there's a guy, and he's not funny. Greenbaum, is he trying to be like a comedian, but he's not good? No! He's just not funny and not fun to be around at all. And then Greenbaum goes, "Oh, I get it. There's a guy and he's not funny." Yeah, that rules, man. Would people make jokes at his expense about how not funny he is? No, they try. They'll try. He'll step on the jokes. He'll ruin them. He'll ruin any jokes you try to make in the room with him. He'll get it. You'll be halfway through a joke, and then he'll just dive bomb it, and then that joke's not funny, and he just ruins anything that he touches. Delightful! Would you like more cocaine, Fritzl? Oh, yes, Greenbaum. Oh,
pour it directly into the martini. We're old-timey hedonists, you see.
Peel me a grape and allow me to lie on this fainting couch and rub oil on myself.
Shirtless servant boy. I desire more martini, please. More gin.
I love this interpretation of Fritzl and Greenbaum. I love this so much.
Just fat, decadent, like, aristocrats.
Oh, 100%. They're both wearing monocles.
Yeah.
And looking at their servant boys through the monocles and opera glasses.
Yes.
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 Okay.
But yeah, like, he's not just, like, on every level, he is the worst, because the characters in the show, again, you have to compare him to Gomer. Their feedback was frequently like, he frustrates me, but he is a good guy, and, you know, he has a good heart, and I love him. I love him. He's dumb as hell. He frustrates me. And nobody has anything positive to say about Goober at any point. Nobody is ever like, well, Goober's a good guy. They're like, oh my god, this dude fucking sucks. He sucks, Barney. And Barney's like, I know, I hate him. Can we kill him? And Andy's like, I kind of want to. We shouldn't. And like everybody involved, like Goober walks down the street and people are just like, fuck off, Goober. And he's like, all right. Like,
the real problem is, right, like there are two characters you can compare him to. Number one, obviously, is Gomer, right? You compare Gomer, but you look at the episodes where Gomer tries to get a date, and they're trying to get Gomer a date because he wants a date. Because he genuinely because they want companionship, and Gomer is sweet about it. Gomer's so nice. They kind of did do the same thing. Like, they wanted to pass Gomer off on a girl who everyone thought was ugly. Remember that? But Gomer was like sweet, and he wanted to bring her flowers, and they wanted to have fun together. He was actually interested in it. Goober is going on the date because Andy told him you should go on a date. Right? He's not interested in Lydia. The other character you can compare him to is Ernest T. Bass, where they were like, let us find Ernest T. Bass a female companion so he doesn't destroy the town in horny anger. Mm-hmm. Right? So the problem is he's not as likable as Goober, and he's not as much of an existential threat as Ernest T. Bass. So this is just annoying. It's just the stakes are so low. It's just so that Andy can get a hand job in a canoe, which, by the way, sex in a canoe sounds like a horrible idea. The only thing that you can really do in a canoe is kill Fredo. Yes.
Which is a great date activity.
Just murdering Fredo Corleone together.
Just staring lovingly into each other's eyes as you garrote Fredo.
No, like sex in a canoe sounds like a terrible idea. I did like the joke that Barney is very frustrated that Goober tagged along as he walked Thelma home, and he had to shake her hand goodbye and Goober's. I liked that. So they go to Goober's garage.
To circle back to the Ernest T. Bass thing, the thing about Ernest T. Bass, though, is he leaves. Like, whatever happens to the town, Ernest T. Bass returns to the woods. And so they're just basically like, we just gotta run out the clock on Ernest T. Bass before he is nature's problem again. And he just goes, like, sexually harasses a badger or something. But they're basically like, Goober's here forever. So we have to solve this, because we will have to deal with this for literally the rest of our lives.
He's a living embodiment of Andy's purgatory. Yes.
He is like, Goober in the context of this show is like an eldritch horror. He is a living personification of all of Andy's sins. Like, everything that they have done wrong, Goober is God smiting him. Like, he is a transcendent evil in the context of this show.
And all he does, remind you, is just hang around. Like, that's all he does. He just doesn't go. He's an energy vampire. His entire like thing is that he's just there, and just his mere presence is enough to suck all of the energy and joy out of a room.
Yes.
So then he meets with Lydia Crosswaith, who we've seen before, right? Mm-hmm. We have seen Lydia before, and Lydia, I think, is genuinely funny. I think she was funnier in the other episode where Barney tried to set her up with Andy during like a break between him and his then girlfriend. But so Lydia Crosswaith is there, and
I mean,
God, this character's such a weirdo. She's played by an actress named Josie Lloyd, who didn't really do anything else of note. But she plays this character so well. She's just like a little weirdo who just like takes every idea that you have for stuff to do and is a Debbie Downer and just shoots it all down. And if you try to bring up a conversation, just like shoots the conversation down. But she also just won't leave. So now you got two of them, basically.
Yeah. So I should say that the way Goober beefs the first date with Lydia.
I think that scene is funny. I think that scene is good and funny.
That scene's good.
I was smiling through it.
we have glossed over, I would say, the most important, yet another major milestone in this season, which is to show Goober how to properly seduce a woman.
Oh yeah.
Barney takes Goober to Helen Crump's house, where Andy is currently on a date, and they are watching TV together. And Barney, slowly, from the shadows, narrates Andy putting his arm around Helen Crump, very subtly, very sexily, nuzzling up close to her. Oh, now he's gonna go in for a kiss. To which Goober goes, "Yeah, you do it, Andy, you get that kiss!" Like, just starts yelling. And Andy bursts out, fucking... Furious doesn't really capture it, like, what he is in this moment. He is kind of, like, shell-shocked? Like
he's just stunned. He's just stunned. It's like his ears are ringing.
Yeah.
He's like the frag grenade just went off, and he's not sure what's happening, but he knows that it's not good.
Yeah. It is, somebody just threw a Molotov cocktail into the house, basically. And then Barney and Goober scamper off into the night, but I'm gonna say that if Goober had kept his mouth shut, they would have watched Andy fuck. I feel like Barney was starting to get into it.
They were definitely starting to watch.
Barney was not like, we're gonna watch him kiss, and then we will leave. Like,
no. Like, he was narrating. He was like, "Look at that! Look how smooth that is!" Like, and I think let's just say we're all thinking, Barney wants to see the hog.
Yeah.
Barney wants to see Andy's hog. Just wants to see that bad boy in action.
Yeah, Barney, I think, was like absolutely down to watch his friend fuck. He wanted to see the hog.
No, this isn't new, dude. He's tried to bring them to have a foursome with the fun girls before too. Like,
yes,
we've known this for a long time. This is not new information.
He wants to watch Andy fuck and then get very insecure about stuff that he sees. Like, just they're in the sheriff's office the next day, and Andy's just like being a little quiet. Barney just goes like, "You think you're so great with your 7 inches?
Look at you, Look at you, Mr. Big Shot."
Yeah. "Oh, just because you can pick her up, you think you're better than me."
Yeah, no, they do. They spy on him to give Goober some pointers on seducing a woman. So then he starts dating Lydia Crosswaith. I mentioned I did like the scene with their first date, but it was just a redux, basically, of an Ernest D. Bass scene. And then we get a deeply frustrating scene where our two couples are hanging out, playing cards, just having fun. And then Lydia and Goober show up unannounced. And they're just there. And they can't play bridge anymore because you can't have 6 people playing bridge. And our two couples just sit on the couch, deeply frustrated by not being able to find any activity to do. You know what my thing is, man? Is I recognize this so hard, and they don't do anything funny with this very frustrating situation that I've been in. We've all been in. Yeah. Sometimes your friend just dates someone who sucks.
Yeah.
And you just have to deal with it.
This is the most realistic version of it, though. It's not like your friend will date somebody that sucks, and you're like, "Yeah, Greg's an asshole. I don't fucking like him." Or like, "Oh yeah, she like gets really mean." The worst version of it is she brought this guy over, and there's nothing wrong with him. Perfectly nice, but he was just so fucking boring, and I could not wait to get away from him. And it was that experience for, I'm going to say 10 minutes?
It's a solid 10 minutes. It's the entire middle portion of the episode. They don't go anywhere. They don't do anything with it. It's just a painful recreation of a thing that I want to avoid in my own real life. I think, the more detached from reality the Andy Griffith Show is, the more I like it. It is at its worst when it is trying to be like realistic relationships at all. Like, it cannot handle that. It cannot do that. Give me your weird shit. Once again, magic exists in this world. Do that.
Which, like, okay, it's when if you did this shit with a show now, they would have funny observations and jokes about what it's like to be in that situation. I Think You Should Leave basically has an entire sketch that's just about this. But like,
or it would consist, like, the entire episode would consist of different couples trying to leave, finding excuses to leave the room, and then swapping back and forth to be in the room to deal with those people. Like, that is how, like, a show like Friends would deal with this.
This just
in fact, Friends did do this. Friends had a recurring bit where like, Chandler was always dating Janice, and everyone hated Janice. I loved Janice, but Chandler just had an annoying girlfriend that no one liked, and that was a source of comedy on Friends for a long time, a recurring gag.
Yeah, but I've never seen a frame of Friends. What they do is that they just do it. They just do the thing that happens, and then there's no jokes about it. I mean, there's some jokes. The joke is basically just that anything they want to do, Lydia has, I'm not going to say a funny reason why she can't do it. It's just like, oh, I cannot bowl. I have a bad back. Oh, I have seen that movie. I did not like it. Oh, I don't play cards. Just like that. That's
just like a person that doesn't do anything. They actually do this twice, right? Like, they just do the same thing again, where everybody's excited to go to a dance, and they're really excited to go to the dance because Goober's not going to the dance. He and Lydia are doing something else. But then Lydia and Goober decide to go to the dance anyway. That's the second thing. And then the end of the episode is Andy and Helen finally get a minute alone, and then Barney comes in and is like, man, I can't believe that Goober. He never knows when to leave. He's always bugging you. He never knows when to leave. He won't leave you alone. Hey, I'm just going to hang out with you guys all night. What are we up to? And that's it. Like, there's no action. There's no scheme. I guess there was like a scheme, I guess, to get them together, but not really. This isn't TV. This isn't a story. This is just annoying stuff.
The scheme is teaching your virgin friend how to go on a date. Like, that is what they have to teach Goober.
That should be the episode.
Yeah, which they do for 5 seconds, and the entire time Barney is like, this sucks and I hate it. I hate this guy. I don't care if he gets laid. I do not care.
True.
And the fact that we have to do this sucks. The entire time he's like, this is stupid. I hate it. He's just like, it's so weird. Anytime that they start to get any, like, momentum going, the characters are just like, I fucking hate doing this. I hate doing a comedic premise for this guy. I hate it. Yes, this has some momentum. I hate that we're doing momentum for Goober. He sucks, and I don't want to do a scheme for him. Sucks.
The characters are protesting the plot line. We're left with this because the characters themselves are just like, this dude sucks so much. We don't need to dedicate screen time to him. This is beneath me. Barney Fife.
All the characters are like kids in the back of a minivan on a long road trip of just like, I don't want to go to Niagara Falls.
And
it sucks.
It's kind of like the omnipotent writers are like, okay, well, if you don't want to do the dating scene, then this is it. And like they're punished. The characters are then punished. Barney is then punished for not wanting to do the comedic premise with just 20 minutes of tedious repetition. And the writers get to go, guess what? This is what you get, man. Sorry. Yeah. And then we, the audience, apparently just have to suffer for it. Why do I have to suffer for this?
Because the characters spited God, so now we all just have to marinate in the consequences. Which, the characters genuinely seem to be angry at the show for this. They're like, just looking up to the heavens and being like, why are you doing this to us? What have we done? Can you just let us have premises? Bring the crazed mountain people back. They were fun. They were armed and dangerous, but they were very fun. And the writers are just like, nope, you got Goober.
Nope, that's what you got. That's what you get, man. Sorry, sucks for you. So we all have to suffer. We all have to suffer for this.
And they're just like, can you give him like a funny bit? Can you make him do jokes? And they're like, best I can do is him not understanding what you're talking about. Does that work for you? Is that good? Would you enjoy that if a character you just told a guy something and he just didn't really listen that well?
Listen, I don't think you're getting it. What if there was a guy and he wasn't funny?
Greenbaum, you know what would be delicious? What if we tortured the characters? What if we made them suffer? Oh, the irony.
Ratings. I hate this fucking episode.
It's dog shit. It
dog
sucks
shit.
so bad. And
This is one of the worst episodes we've ever done.
And like the characters, we are stuck with this asshole. I think Goober sticks around for the remainder of the show.
Yeah, we're never done with him. He's here forever.
Like the new Barney after Barney leaves. This is the guy. He's the worst character.
This is what we've hitched our wagons to.
Yeah, it is. We were I want to go back in time and be nicer to Goober. When he first showed up and we were like, I'm uncomfortable with this character that has a lot of stuff allegorical to mental illnesses that I'm not really comfortable with. I would just want to go back and be like, you need to savor this! Deal with it! It gets so much worse! Like, any trepidation I had about Goober, I just want to, like, take back. Yeah, this is the worst episode, and it's going to be so shitty for so long.
It's the worst episode we've had so far. Ratings for this episode, Andy Meter.
I'm looking forward to the season 6 finale, which is just Andy Griffith sitting in an empty room staring at Goober and occasionally screaming. Like, that's just what it is. It's just like a fucking Brecht play. Just the two of them sitting across a plain table, and you just hear, like, the ticking of a clock.
Andy Meter on this episode, -3. I hated this.
It doesn't have anything that's even remotely funny, right?
No.
No.
Oh, no, hang on. I do like the one scene where Goober is like rushing through all of the notes that Andy gave him on a date, right?
Yeah.
Goober says something like he wouldn't know what to say on a date, and Andy gives him like some advice, like talk about her car, and then from her car talk about like traveling and talk about going to Raleigh and talk about the weather. And then Barney yells, dude, even high schoolers don't talk about the weather. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that kind of works.
That worked for me. And
Don Knotts is like genuinely funny in that scene.
And then Goober like going through all those notes and having the date be like a rapid fire like 5-minute thing where he like grabs Lydia's hand to hold her hand and she goes, oh, and then he runs away and goes, okay, bye, and then leaves. That made me smile. I smiled through that scene. So I'm gonna give this a 1 for that scene alone.
Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah, a 1 for that scene. And
yeah.
Barney Meter 0 doesn't. It doesn't have enough going on to.
There's nothing upsetting about it. It just sucks. Goober Meter, on the other hand, though.
Goober Meter's the fun one because Andy. We glossed over a scene where it is after Barney tried to watch Andy fuck, and they're in the jail the next day, and Barney is repeatedly asking Andy, "Are you mad at me? You mad at me? You seem like you're mad at me. Are you mad at me? You mad? You seem like you're mad at it." And he's like, I'm not mad. I'm not mad at you. And then Barney just goes, is Helen mad? And he just goes like, shut the fuck up. Like then he like snaps. And that is the point where this is, I feel like, a big step in the Goober Meter of, I would say Andy's at like a 6.
Yeah. I was gonna go higher than that. I was gonna say like an 8. But
yeah, I'm saying I'm gonna bump it up to an 8.
His friends tried to watch him fuck, dude. Like he's very much done with this. Like the best case scenario here is that, again, there was no resolution to this. Like, they didn't solve the Goober is annoying problem. They didn't break up Goober and Lydia. Like, as far as he knows, he has to just deal with this in perpetuity, forever. This is just his life now. He's deeply done. 8 on the Barney, on the Goober meter.
The finale of this episode is Andy staring into Helen Crump's eyes as they just both silently scream in horror. They're just like in a fucking like a twisted sci-fi short story from like the 70s where they're just trapped in this hell dimension together, and they're just like, if we just gotta hold on, there's no hope coming. Like,
you gotta wonder, what did Helen do? What did Helen do to deserve this punishment in the bad place, right? Because like Helen has to deal with all of this exact same bullshit, but also she's also with a boyfriend who does not like her. Like, above all, remember that, like, Andy isn't even really that into Helen.
No.
What did she do?
He's just the only guy, because everybody has been shipped off to Vietnam. So he's just the only eligible bachelor in this town that she appears to be stuck in as a result of her career, and he's just, like, the only dude. And he is having all of his, like, chickens come home to roost. Like, the consequences of everything he's done over the last few seasons is now coming back to bite him in the ass.
Bad time to get into a relationship with a guy. You want to be with that dude while he is sowing, not while he is reaping.
I was gonna say, like you're on the first date, like, so what do you have going on right now? Well, not to brag, but I'm reaping what I sowed right now. Comeuppance, you ever heard of it? I'm getting a lot.
Not a good time to get involved with somebody.
I've developed an unhealthy relationship with every dumb asshole in town, and now it's biting me in the ass. So, yeah, I don't know. She must have, like, killed somebody. Like, she must have, like, on her way into Mayberry, hit somebody with her car and just kept driving.
Just kept going. Just kept driving.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's got to be it. And that's why she wants to be so in with the sheriff.
Yeah. She's just, like, she just, like, wiped the blood off of her car and be like, Helen, you're on the way to start your bright new life in Mayberry. Just don't let that, just put this all behind you. This never happened. And then the devil, the little cartoon devil is just like, ha ha, another one. Just, yeah. So, yeah, I put him at an 8. He gets pretty close. I think this is, beyond the pale. Let's say, hypothetically, Barney was not going to watch him fuck. He was going to promptly leave after they kiss. Still, how bad is that?
Still pretty bad, dude. It's still pretty bad. It's still pretty bad.
Still, I would say unforgivable. I would definitely say no coming back from that as friends. I think you have to definitely cut that person out of your life and maybe start legal proceedings. Like, yeah.
Gonna Google history of restraining order.
Yeah. I am getting deja vu. I feel like we've Googled the history of restraining orders before.
So that's it for this episode. Jesus Christ, these were both so bad.
Yeah. It's been a string of bad ones, dude. It's not even like the bad ones where we're like, it's evil! They said it's okay to eat the homeless. Like, it's just been...
No, these are not morally upsetting. They're just depressing, like, excuses for television.
The needle on the Barney meter has barely moved for, like, 4 months. Like, it's getting dusty. We had to bring in the Goober meter just for something to do. They're too poorly written to be horrible.
It's almost like we've committed ourselves to a horrible exercise in futility.
Which everybody that we've, like, talked to, like, whenever we've, like, talked to somebody's dad and we've been like, we're watching all of the Andy Griffith show, they're like, oh, those later seasons, buckle up. Like, even people that like the Andy Griffith show are like, oh boy, you get past season 5, look out. You're gonna have a real bad time.
It's great. It's great. I'm glad we did this. I'm glad this is what we spent our life doing. I love it. I'm a big fan. Thanks everybody for listening. We're not going to do the plugs and normal stuff. Patreon.com/Breaking Mayberry to help us with your money dollars. That's it for us for now. Congratulations again to Dan, who dragged me on a boat and got married.
Yeah, you loved it.
I don't love my sunburn. All right, we'll see you all down at the fishing hole. Ba-da-ba.